Good afternoon. Welcome to episode 36 of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the beautiful, sunny, and warm, comfy, and somewhat partly cloudy confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be watching or listening, I thank you as always. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. Ton of information to go over with you guys. I haven't actually posted a video in a couple of days. Just a lot of information I had to go through. You know, we do guys on Blunt Talk. You know, everything's blunt and straightforward and no bullshit. So we got to make sure all the information is correct. That being said, in the next 2 days, the show will be officially on Apple Podcasts. For those of you, you know, definitely check it out. It's something I thought that was going to take a lot longer to manifest, and it didn't. And I'm just thank God that this opportunity is here. And again, it's through the help of you guys and through you guys as subscribing, watching, and listening, liking, commenting. I thank you all. Getting right into it though, I wanted to go over. It's going to be the first couple episodes that you see within these next set of changes is going to be about the Eagles, Fly Eagles Fly. A lot of the information was coaches, player interviews, things like that I wanted to go over and touch base with. Not every single solitary damn thing that they talked about, but most importantly, the highlights and main talking points that I think weren't discussed and some of the things I think need to be discussed that can help give us some insight for the Birds, season. This, let's be honest, it's going to be a very, very critical season for this team. Not more or less for, I want to parse my words when I say this, definitely for Nick Sirianni. I think there's definitely pressure on Jalen Hurts with his eye on Nick Sirianni, where if he does not reach a level where we think he should reach with this team, it's clear to see he's going to probably lose his job. That being said, though, during this offseason, after having the season that he had, which was underperforming at the end after starting 10-1, he's made, I think, very significant hires, offensive hires and defensive hires. Obviously, bringing in Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio off the top of my head, bringing those guys in have been impressive. But I wanted to dig into the notes from the press conferences from the coaches last Monday and just really hop into a lot of things they talked about. First thing was Doug Nussmeier. Now, a lot of people, if you aren't familiar with Doug Nussmeier comes with Kellen Moore. He's been attached with Kellen Moore now in Dallas, and I believe also with the Los Angeles Chargers. They've been friends for years. They've been coaching colleagues for years. You kind of see that tandem a lot in coaches. It's usually two guys that's joined at the hip. Nussmeier is Kellen Moore's right-hand man. What's pivotal for the average Eagles fan who probably doesn't know this, Doug Nussmeier is going to be the guy that's going to be directly working with Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts' success and or lack of success will be attributed to this man as well. Having said that, Doug Nussmeier spoke on a couple of things at the press conference. He spoke on coaching up his players and using positive and consistent communication, which I think is great because let's be honest, I think a lot of times you get these old, coaches who just get bogged down in the fucking ways of yesteryear where it's do this or else or you're not fucking playing. But to be quite honest with you, we know in this day and age that shit's not going to work. The average player now is not going to respond to that. They're not even going to adhere to that. So, understandably so. I like that coaching style. He says that him and Kellen, as far as the way they coach offense, they coach to a standard, which I think is very, very distinct, very specific. When you say a standard, obviously there's a level of how they want the quarterback to play in that offense. And if the quarterback is not playing that offense, then that's something they have to rework and work on with the QB. That being said, I do think that Jalen Hurts will be able to meet that standard. When he spoke on Jalen Hurts, he said that he's focused and driven, and he wants to have all the answers. Nothing, no surprise there. I think when you're learning a new offense, you want to make sure that you have all the answers to the test, that you answer everything correctly, that you do everything right. Because again, it's a big year for Jalen. Jalen, it was just 2022 that, he was just second in MVP voting, finished in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, it was the loss for us, but, it was a great year for Jalen. And last year, though he made the Pro Bowl, though he had a career high touchdown passes, though, the rushing numbers were there, he was injured. And it was very evident. And down the stretch, he just didn't play effectively enough to put the team in position and, to carry forward. So it's great to hear that. And it's great to hear that he's receptive to the coaching. But Jalen's always been receptive to the coaching. Jalen's never been the type of guy to been like, well, I do this and I'm not doing anything else. So that's great to hear. He says, I'm happy. Nussmeier continues on and says, I'm happy to be here and work with him. And also news of note, he recruited Jalen out of high school. So he's already seen Jalen Hurts' talent from, you know, a youngin to now. So this shows me a lot of promise. There's a lot of hope there because that means there's something that he can work with. And that's definitely great because, again, the same questions were asked about Shane Steichen. You know, Brian Johnson, though the offense was 7th in the NFL last year, offense didn't deliver in key aspects like we expected. And if you go back as far as, again, to Shane Steichen, these same questions arose. So, again, I like what I'm hearing from Nussmeier. I like what they're setting up. I like the standard that he's talking about. That's pivotal, and that's going to be critical to Jalen's success and his team's success. He was asked by a reporter on coaching athletic quarterbacks. He said, specifically to Jalen, because he wanted to get direct to the point, we want to coach to his athleticism, but we also want to coach him to not put himself in risky situations, which I think Jalen does a pretty good job of that. Now, there's times being a mobile quarterback, you're going to get fucked up. I mean, let's be real. The knee's going to get hit. Shoulder's going to get hit. You're going to get hit in the back awkwardly. Guy lands on your ankle. Damn ACL ruptures, knee ruptures, whatever. You know, it happens, unfortunately. But nonetheless, Jalen's already been pretty smart with that. I think coaching that to him is just going to make him even more efficient of a weapon. You know, get the 15, 20-yard gain instead of trying to run through 2 or 3 guys, get down. You know, we'll save that. You running through 2 or 3 guys on those tush-push situations or those goal line situations in the red zone. That's when we'll worry about that. We're not going to stress that right now. So I think that's great. Next was Kellen Moore, who spoke to the media. Obviously, he highlighted again the relationship he has with Doug Nussmeier. Nussmeier said that their relationship was great and always communicating. He spoke. Nussmeier also continued and said that coaching his offense, he coaches his offense to work within chaos, which I thought that was key because I think that was something that missed. There was an element of that missing from last year's offense. If you pay attention to 2022, when the offensive play broke down, there still seemed like, even though we could tell some plays Jalen was just kind of, you know, reading and seeing what he had and just making a throw, it seemed like it worked within chaos. It was organized chaos, for lack of better words. An element I felt that the team missed last year, and I think that would be pivotal this year. Going forward, Nussmeier also talked about how it is going to be essential for the reads and comfortability, like a better words, comfortability for Jalen to have within his offense. And it's going to be crucial. It's going to be crucial. Like I said, I think what I've heard was good, but, you know, the results have to be seen. And so far, I mean, he's looked like he's being receptive to it from what I've seen in the footage. Footwork looks there. Footwork looks a lot better than what it looked like a year ago. Looks like the knee's healthier. Looks like he's got his burst back. So remains to be seen. Next was Clint Hurt, who was a defensive line coach. Now, I won't lie to y'all. This was low-key my favorite hire of the whole offseason as far as the coaches. Clint Hurt, well known in Seattle for what he's done for years with that defensive line. He spoke on getting accustomed to the culture and fitting in. He's not one of those guys that's coming in as demanding guys adjust to him. He's trying to adjust to the culture that's already been set here, which he's already established and reiterated was a winning culture, a winning organization. He just wants to be a part of it. He spoke on the defense, which I thought he highlighted key things on the defense. He highlighted that gap responsibility and aggression is a balance, and that they coach to that, and that we stay aggressive, but we always understand our gaps. So, you know, again, running a 3-4 defense, which I'll be having a video coming out shortly on highlighting Vic Fangio's defense and what the Eagles will be running. And gap responsibility and aggression is key. These are things that's going to help that defensive line be consistent and persistent, attacking those quarterbacks in these high-powered offenses. He said that Jordan Davis must stay in great shape, something that obviously in the previous episode I highlighted. Jordan Davis stated he has to be in better shape. If he does, he'll reach his potential, which that means for the Eagles, great news, great things. He said Milton Williams, which is a name we have not heard a lot on this channel, and we've not heard a lot throughout off-season camp and work. Very interesting to hear, though, that Clint Hurst said that Milton Williams is valued and possibly the Eagles' most overlooked lineman, end quote. He said he thinks Milton will play very well, and I'll be honest with you. I looked at the depth chart, and I see that they have him in a 3-4 listed as a defensive end. Milton Williams has been one of those guys where he's been solid when he has been healthy. I remember in 2022 when he was healthy, he was putting up, he was, you know, playing good. Last year he battled with some injuries, played good in some spots, got injured again. If he's healthy and he's just there, the defensive line will be better, you know. And I like the fact that Clint Hurtt is identifying the guys who have already been here or may not have been getting their turn in the sun like that because of the heavy rotations that were here the past 2 years, that he's letting them be known, it's your turn now, and you're going to have to step up. He said, which highlights the next point he reiterated, challenging his D linemen to condition themselves and will push them to their limits, which is, again, this is what you want, because I don't know if most of you guys know this or not, and it's something I'm going to highlight in the NFL Deep Dive video on the Eagles 3-4 defense. Vic Fangio don't do a bunch of fucking rotations. There ain't a bunch of you come in and then you go out. See, he's been in this game so long, he knows once offense, heads are going, they're not going to allow you opportunity to do substitutions. So he doesn't substitute. That's just not something he does. You're playing most of the snaps. So conditioning and them being playing to their limits, these guys are young. They're in their early 20s. Let's be real. If this was an older defensive line, I'd probably be a little bit worried. But most of these guys being within their early to mid 20s, they should be fucking in exceptional shape going into this season. And they should play at a high level, being honest with you. Next was Christian Parker, defensive backs coach, which was very keen and interesting to hear from him. A lot of people, if you don't know, he's defensive backs coach that gets the credit to coaching up Patrick Surtain, Jr., who plays for the Denver Broncos. I think it was interesting that when he spoke, highlighted one of the key things he talked about. He spoke on finding Cooper DeJean a home. Now, if you guys remember, I've been highlighting this all the way throughout the offseason that draft, when I did the draft recap going into the offseason, one of the things they highlighted was Cooper DeJean was not, his hips were very stiff. He wasn't great as an outside corner. He was preferably better at the nickel. No arguments there, whatever. High pick, good player, whatever. We'll see how he produces. But to hear those words was very distinct to me. So it lets me know that they're trying him out in a bunch of different positions, which Christian Parker highlighted. He spoke about his versatility at outside corner and nickel. And he said that they do not see him as purely a nickel corner. That being said, he said that the versatility is going to be key for him and that they're going to use the mini camps and training camp to solidify and find a spot for Cooper DeJean, which I think he'll probably, if looking at how things have been going, he might fuck around and be the starting nickel. Avonte Maddox has been in there, but they've been having him and Bradbury alternate at safety. I'll be highlighting that too in another episode, but they've been having those guys alternate at safety, but, Cooper DeJean has definitely been getting this burn in the nickel, and he's been playing a lot of snaps there so far through camp. And last but not least, the last coaching interview that was held that I definitely wanted to highlight on, Jeff Stoutland, the great offensive line coach for the Eagles, who has been, in my opinion, the unheralded savior of this team, because without the offensive lines that he's helped construct, this team couldn't have gotten to a Super Bowl, 2 of them, and let alone contend the way they've been able to contend within the past, 5 to 10 years. That being said, Jeff Stoutland spoke on Tyler Steen being the right guard for now, and that it is his position to earn. No shock there. Tyler Steen had got some burn there last year a little bit. He played a little bit of snaps, didn't play that much, but again, we knew that this moment was going to come. He's been training at this position all offseason. He spoke. Jeff Stoutland also talked about his relationship with Jason Kelce. He also talked about how much he's going to miss Kelce, and, that his leadership is always going to be needed and always going to be sought, and that he's going to have Kelce come to the team facility and actually meet with some of the guys. And he asked Howie for the okay, and Howie and Jeffrey Lurie gave the okay, which I didn't think there would be any fight there. But again, you got to get the bosses okay. And ultimately, you're going to have Kelce with Stoutland kind of mentoring these guys, which I think is very interesting. It's going to be very good to see how the depth in these guys grow in the line. That being said, he spoke about the depth at the position. He says he's very happy about the depth. He highlighted them signing Mekhi Becton in April and Max Sharping last month. And I want to highlight too that Max Sharping has also played 43 snaps the past 2 years for Cincy. So no shock there from Jeff Stoutland, more or less wanting to just highlight that he's happy and excited for the moves that Howie made to help address the line in the offseason, because depth was an issue, a low-key concern going into the offseason. I do think that's something that may not be much of a concern now. We'll see. Games haven't been played yet. Knock on fucking wood. We don't want to jinx anything. But it's going to be very interesting, Mekhi Becton, to see how he develops too, and Tyler Steen, because one of those guys is going to be the right guard. And we expect Tyler Steen to be the right guard, but I do believe that if Mekhi Becton doesn't wind up being the right guard, he could potentially be the backup left guard. So all in all, that was the coaches' interviews. We won't hear back from the coaches again until training camp. So it was great to hear this information from them. That's going to wrap up this episode. I thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, share, subscribe. Thank you. Take care. Stay safe and enjoy your day.